there, welcome back to the Hot to Cold Mechanical YouTube channel. I'm Trevor and I'm here with Ameen. He's the owner of Hot to Cold Mechanical, and today our topic is going to be the top 10 reasons why we use KeepRite Comfortmaker for our heating and cooling products. Now, you've been using these products for a number of years, and give us a little bit of history on it. Well, I know we're going to ask a lot more questions on it, but you know, you've seen other things out there. Tell us why you've chosen these brands in particular for your company.
Well, for my company, I have to admit that these brands, with so many to choose from, are going to be brands that have either, reliability and or a lot of serviceability.
Right.
Okay, and the fact that I would not want to be selling service. I wanted quality. And to be selling quality. And when you worked out in the trade long enough for years, you found that you would always notice who was the best to be working on and who was always the most reliable.
We'll start off with a quote from Henry David Thoreau. Success usually comes to those who are too busy looking for it. I've got a nice statistic for you guys talking about air conditioners. The most important maintenance task that will ensure the efficiency of your air conditioner is to routinely replace or clean its filters. Clogged, dirty filters reduce the amount of airflow and significantly reduce a system's efficiency. So we're going to jump right into the questions right now. And number one is, who is KeepRite?
Well, KeepRite is actually a big name, known more on the refrigeration side of the world.
Okay.
And that's commercial refrigeration. That's not the refrigerators in your home.
Okay.
What we're talking about is the commercial refrigeration half of our trade. When you're taught in school, you're taught commercial refrigeration, and you're also taught HVAC.
Right.
Now, what the commercial refrigeration side of it all is how to keep a grocery store's products cold and or frozen. Right. For that 365 days of the year by the second. And you're always keeping that at proper temperature, or you just cannot sell it. Okay, if anything ever fails and the system ever goes down, it's always on alarm. It's like always on alarm, because of the simple fact that it's like a fire technically. Because of the simple being that if you don't get to it soon enough, you are going to have to see things melting, getting warm, and if you have to throw it away, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
And that is a big problem. And KeepRite has always now become, and has always been out there, but has now become the world leader, and they've been there for a long time because of their serviceability and the reliability. That's what matters most in refrigeration. Because of the fact that how fast you can fix something, but yet how often you may ever have to fix it is what matters the most. And to get to that level in this trade, it is so difficult. It is one of the top 3 most difficult mechanical systems in the world. And for them to be there is exactly why all these other names like that in your home, Goodman, Carrier, Train, and all these names have never gone near it. They will never go near it because it's just too risky. Right. And it's a very, very difficult half of our trade. That is the higher end of our trade. You can almost say these refrigeration companies look down at the HVAC names. Like it's like you're well below us. Like it's just, they're so much higher and so much more difficult. Right. That it's just a totally different half of the trade. Yeah, so keeping your house cool is one thing, but keeping a grocery store's walk-in coolers and big refrigeration units running 24/7, 365 at the right temperature and humidity and everything, a much more difficult task. So that's what separates KeepRite from other brands. Is KeepRite is the world leader in refrigeration. So if they can take care of a grocery store, I'm sure they can take care of your house. Now, here's a curious question: why is KeepRite in the same factory as Carrier? Well, they went to the factory with Carrier knowing that Carrier was always, like I said, whenever you walked into a home and you saw Carrier, you had relief. Because you knew of the serviceability they had and the reliability. Okay. And that's exactly what KeepRite has. And they had to keep it the same way. They knew who Carrier was. They had to find that top factory with the top products, and even though they would make their own products and, engineer it their own way in a lot of areas, but the fact that they still had a proper factory building it properly for them. Okay. Because they could not let this lower half of the trade ever bruise or scratch their big name in refrigeration. So when they knew Carrier was the leader, they knocked on their factory door decades ago and definitely made sure that they were in a proper space to get their products built properly. They would never have wanted anything to ever, how would you say, lessen the name they have in refrigeration, which is so hard to receive.
Right.
It takes so hard to get up there and say you're the world leader up there that they could never let that big name get hurt.
Yeah, and Carrier is a very good product. Like
They are the world leader in HVAC.
I mean, wasn't it the Carrier who invented refrigeration? Now, how does KeepRite's engineering differ from the other companies that are out there?
Well, when you see the engineering, and I've seen it enough when I did the teardowns just on Carrier, Lennox, and KeepRite, and saw them, pretty much stripped open to take a look inside and see what they did, you could see how Carrier is still pretty much the same, but yet they're starting to get a little more compact. Lennox is just completely compact.
Okay.
And their serviceability is just total waste of time. Because the time you're going to waste in a house with a Lennox furnace, it's just not fair to the customer. Okay, because the time it takes you to get to the simplest parts, like just a flame sensor, you're taking out burners, you're taking out gas lines. It's just so compact, like opening a hood of a car nowadays, and you see how you can't really see anything or reach to anything. That's how they've got their furnaces, and I didn't want that. I also saw that Carrier was, still looking okay, but they're starting to they're drifting in that direction. But then when you saw the KeepRite, it's just a wide open space. It's clear as day. All the screws are right in front of your face. It doesn't matter what you want to fix. There's nothing going from underneath, right? And like a lot of these companies have, the tightest spaces to put screws that are going to be like tearing other things out just to get to a screw. But KeepRite's not like that. Their serviceability came first.
Right.
And when it came to the engineering, you saw clearly, you could see engineering. You could just see the quality. And when I saw their circuit board, I was like shocked. I couldn't believe the quality of that circuit board and how they've designed it. It was like on a black translucent insulating board that is using computers. And you looked at Carriers and they're still using a basic cream fiber board that they've had out for the last 30 years. And so there is differences in that factory, but they still keep to themselves.
Right.
Definitely that way.
So good build quality, good engineering. Now let's explain maybe to people the differences between commercial refrigeration and HVAC.
Yeah, well, commercial refrigeration, when you look at commercial refrigeration, you got to consider that you have at least an average of 150 to 175 sensors in a store. Like a big store like Superstore, for instance, would have definitely that going. And those are sensors that are pressure and temperature sensors that are being watched by these control systems by the second, by the minute at the most. And the fact that they're keeping an eye on all these sensors and sending out all these signals to all these solenoid valves and getting them all to send the gases in as needed to be sure they keep those pressures and temperatures as is. Now, it's not simple. That's a lot to watch by the minute, especially on a rush hour, when everybody comes in just after work, and they want to get their food for supper and so forth and so on, and the doors are being opened and closed, or if weekends you see the same, that is a lot of temperature change constantly going. So those systems are working like crazy, and that's only one system in that whole compressor room that is running that whole show. You've got everything up on the roof, you got your condensers, you got all the needs there that way to get the system, all your compressors in the compressor room, all your racks and all your control systems are all watching that one whole store. Okay, to watch that whole store is not simple.
Right.
And it's definitely a lot of work. And the fact that when you look at the HVAC side of it all, they're only technically watching one thermostat in your house.
Right.
So that one thermostat in your house is just nothing to them. Okay. That little AC system, if you were to get air conditioning as an example, perfect being next to refrigeration because it's both cooling. You look at the cooling systems in any refrigeration space, like a grocery store, like Superstore, and then you look at the cooling system in your house. It's like a baby toy to them.
Completely different.
It's just so much less that it's just nothing to them.
Completely different type of scenario. Cooling a house as it is to, if you want to just turn your house into a freezer. That would be a different story altogether. Now let's talk about the serviceability. Let's talk about serviceability. Why is that so important to your trade? Well, serviceability is definitely something I would say is so important to your trade because of the fact that you have limited times at time, especially when it's like 30 below in a house. Okay, when it's 30 below outside and how it affects your home inside.
it's how quickly you can fix something.
Yeah.
To get the temperatures back to where they need to be.
Yeah.
It's definite that way in a home, just as much as it is definite in a grocery store. Okay. And how when an alarm goes off for a contractor, they got to be racing to that grocery store as fast as possible with only a couple hours to fix things. Otherwise, they're going to be throwing product away. Now, when it comes to us, I wanted that same serviceability. I wanted the ability to get in and have things fixed quickly. And I had seen enough service in my life to know who you can fix quickly.
Right.
And that's why I said I want a Carrier. But when I saw what KeepRite was doing and how they had even polished off what Carrier had, I was like, well, that's amazing.
Right.
And that's why I wanted it, because like a blower motor, for instance, can be changed in 15 minutes when it used to be like at least a minimum of a 3-hour basis.
Wow.
When you had to take all the circuitry and all the wiring out of the way just to get to your blower motor and slide that blower wheel out and blower motor out, and then get it all out and put back in. It's just a lot of time.
Yeah.
They set it up to just 2 screws sliding out with all the excess wire there. You don't have to touch any of the circuitry. It just slides right out, pull the motor out on welded brackets, and put it right back in when everybody else's bracketing is still strapped.
There you go. So a lot easier to service. You get up and running faster. That's kind of the point, folks.
Well, pretty much.
So, Ameen, when it comes to the KeepRite Comfortmaker brand that you install both furnaces and air conditioners, how is it that you're able to offer 10 years free labor?
It's just due to the reliability, I have to admit. Because of the reliability and how simple their service is. Okay, they're so serviceable, it's just so quick to fix. It doesn't take much time out of me, but because of the fact that I can also say I can count on 2 hands how many times I've actually repaired a KeepRite system.
Right.
I remember coming up to them and then I'll never forget one lady's house, as a matter of fact, I walked into and she said it was about 13 years old and I walked in and it still looked brand new.
Wow.
I was like, well, there was not much more than just a flame sensor to clean and she had never touched it before.
Wow.
The fact that it's just so little to see and so little to do that I'm willing to offer it for free. I don't really care. It's not going to affect me in any way.
Right. And you know, that's some peace of mind for any customers who are looking for furnaces and air conditioning units for their home. KeepRite Comfortmaker brand is excellent, superb quality, and you know, some peace of mind, because that's worth more than money in most cases, especially in our climate here when we're using a lot of forced air heating in our homes in the winter time. It gets extremely cold for long periods of time. You want to have that reliability on your side. So call Ameen and he'll be able to give you a great quote on a new KeepRite Comfortmaker furnace and air conditioner and other products that they offer as well. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.